Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a nice Fal.Con. Thanks for joining us for this session that is called AI Power Attacks, the New Frontier. Okay. So these are three Spanish guys working together in Spain, serving in different sides of CrowdStrike. Luis Gil here is an offensive security expert working in the development of our labs and tradecraft series for your hands-on experiences. And then Roberto Clavero is a sales engineer in the south of Europe. The three of us are based in Madrid. But let's kick it off. It's not about us, it's about the topic. Okay, so this is the agenda we are going to go through. And let's talk about the AI factor in cybersecurity, no? Or let's continue talking about the AI factor in security. So, as we have noticed these days with our keynotes and many other sessions around us, AI is redefining both sides of the cyber battlefield. It's not only us developing AI capabilities to try to prevent, detect, and respond better. We know that the adversaries are as well adopting AI. But what is this meaning? No? I always like to look to the World Economic Global Risk Report that is issued annually, and they are making an assessment of all risks that we are facing globally, economical, geopolitical, technological, and they are forecasting which are the top risks in the next 2 years. And AI adverse outcomes were ranked 31st. I was a little bit surprised, but then when you continue reading the report, you see that they are providing another forecast that is for a 10 years term. Not surprisingly, the adverse AI outcomes was scaling up to the 6th position. Another thing that is always interesting to see in this report is the interconnections map, no? How different risks are interconnected in between each other. No? So we have highlighted there where the adverse outcomes of AI technologies are, and you see that there is a strong interconnection with misinformation and disinformation type of threats, with cyber espionage and warfare, and crime and illicit economic activity. Curious enough, they are intersecting really well with CrowdStrike mission of stopping breaches. Different type of adversaries, different type of threats. So it's clear that AI is a concern, and there is another report from the World Economic Forum that is the outlook of cybersecurity. So they are surveying among the cybersecurity community regarding different questions, and one of those was which is the most impactful factor in cybersecurity for the current year, for 2025. So 66% of the people that was answering this survey were pointing to AI as the most impactful factor. And take a look into the definition. Maybe you cannot see it very well, so I take the opportunity to highlight them a little bit more, because this is the topics that I am challenged to talk with many of our customers and partners. No? They want to know what we know about the weaponization of AI in the center of it, or how we are applying AI in our platform and services, or how you can or we can protect our AI adoption, no matter what, if it's a SaaS service or we are building our own AI applications. No? So this is something that I have in a deck that I call the III, because everyone is concerned about it, and we are explaining all what we know about of the three topics. No? But today we are just going to focus on the middle and the one on your right, and we are putting aside a little bit security in AI. Okay, so what is happening there? Adversaries are adopting AI. Defenders, we are adopting AI too. So there is an AI arms race. This is a sentence of one of many interviews that George Kurz is having lately, and is highlighting exactly that. No? The adversaries are adopting AI to be able to increase the amount of resources they can dedicate to their business, to be more effective in their missions and so on, and at the same time that we are adopting the AI. And it is clear that there are different AI advancements being adopted in the two sides of the equation, and we are confronting, or sooner or later, we are putting them to confront in our infrastructures. So why the weaponization of AI is concerning? Firstly, because it's removing the entry barriers for many people that are not that skilled, and the adversaries can bring them into their organizations to perform things leveraging AI as if they were experts. But at the same time, this is meaning that not only an existing adversarial organization is going to grow with more members managing a swarm of different agents, every single one of them, many people maybe is going to incorporate their own adversarial organization too. The speed of attacks is something that is going to change, or is changing significantly already. We are going to be seeing the speed of breakout times reducing every year, even faster than what we have seen already. And the time to impact is something that very likely is going to be squeezed. The breadth of the attacks, conquering new domains when you don't have the knowledge, is always difficult. We have seen different attackers starting to conquer the cloud and then some others joining, but now it's going to be much easier for those that weren't aware of these domains to try to understand how to attack us in these other domains. And then the depth, the extension of the techniques that they are using maybe is not going to vary, but they are going to be performed in a more effective way, meaning that the extension of the impact is going to grow. And finally, because very likely the attribution is going to help increase the impunity of the adversaries. We are reporting through our counter-adversary operations team since 2021 of different AI advancements we have seen in the adversary sides in our different reports that I am highlighting there. And we are noticing that every kind of adversary is adopting AI. Different means, different resources, different time to dedicate, but all of them are trying to improve their campaigns, their missions, by means of the adoption of AI. And what are they doing? Well, mainly, and the things that are more visible to us is in the field of social engineering. We are seeing how they are improving their phishing campaigns, their phishing emails, social engineering in general terms, how they are generating synthetic identities, improving the strategy of their campaigns, being more successful. Then information operations. Maybe this is something that is not happening in our networks, but it might be affecting us. And they are developing information to influence the public opinion in different countries. They are creating infrastructure to run these campaigns, and for sure they are adapting all what they are doing for different countries based on the different languages that are spoken in these countries. And then finally, the technical operations, and this is happening more within our networks, and this is when they are recognizing better our infrastructure, our vulnerabilities, our people, trying to look for ways to break in. They are speeding in the research and development of exploits, developing malware with different capabilities, with more power to be going under the radar and be undetected, and then solving any technical challenges they are facing. Meanwhile, they are developing their attacks. But then, after seeing all this information, we were taking a step back in trying to conclude what we were already seeing out there through this intelligence report. As it's happening with regular attacks without AI, things are happening off network, and mainly is when they are developing the different tools, in this case adopting AI, and then this is part of the preparation, and then after, they are launching this attack. This is when they are coming to our turf, then when we need to be ready to confront these attacks and be able to do it in a way that is helping us to try to match the advancement they have achieved. No? So they will try to compromise us, and they will go in an attack flow through the cyber kill chain until they are reaching to their objectives. No? But then there is something even more relevant. No? We were trying to depict all the type of techniques that we have been disclosing, that we saw the adversaries adopting AI. And once again, many things were off network, other things were in network, and we were noticing that pretty much they were all over the place, all over the cyber kill chain through every single technique. No? I am not going to be detailing these examples, but they are part of our reports. So we are seeing phishing, how they are searching in closed environments for information, how they are developing fake linking profiles like famous Cholima was doing in their insider threat campaigns, and so on and so forth. But then we are seeing successful phishing attacks that they were leveraging AI, exploits of exposed devices or applications, and many different things that are popping up here. No? Let me highlight maybe one example, that is the operating system credential dumping. No? This was Scatter Spider in an Azure environment. They were developing a PowerShell script to dump credentials from an Entra ID. This script was developed very likely with MetaJama model. No? So when we were seeing this, we were realizing that this is a set of different techniques across different tactics, but every time it was one attack, one tactic, one technique. This is not an end-to-end attack flow in the same attack. No? So we were thinking, well, is this possible? Is this already happening, but maybe we haven't seen it? And then after talking to Luis, and he told me, yes, and I can do it. Well, you will have to prove it. But then after evidencing that this was possible, the next question was, how will the AI advancements embedded in Fal.Con platform are going to be helping us to confront the advancement the adversaries have achieved? And this is what first Luis and then Roberto are going to provide, the answers to the two questions we were concluding after our analysis. So, Luis, time for you to take the scene.
Thank you, Alvaro. Well, I'm very proud to present to you all Shadow Nexus. So, as Alvaro mentioned before, he kind of challenged me on, can you do a cross-domain attack leveraging AI as adversaries could do in the wild? Well, spoiler alert, I did it, and I will prove it to you. But before that, let me just take a few key takeaways from our Global Threat Hunting Report of this year. And if you ask me to summarize this slide in one sentence, is that AI is empowering adversaries to achieve more with less. It's lowering the entry bar. Now, any script kiddie with no coding expertise can be very effective in his cyber operations. They can operate more broadly. We have seen that without having cloud expertise, you're able to hit cloud control plane. And also, by automating a lot of stuff, they are able to focus on their ROI. So this is Shadow Nexus. It's a C2 server augmented with an LLM. And in this first video, I will show you some capabilities of the tool. So let's jump into it. First, I would like to show you the attack vector analysis. We can select our infected host and trigger this task. What this will do is that it will generate a task and that the agent will collect. And if we take a look at the payload, it's leveraging WinPeace to get a very verbose reconnaissance on the infected host. And just by refreshing, we get a very, very dense reconnaissance information that it will take a lot of time to consume. Even for senior attackers, it could take days. But the power of AI is that it can automate that process. And just by clicking AI Analyze, we can have a very structured report on all the findings on our host. And I want you to please remember what I'm going to highlight right now. Samba and password 123. So some passwords were detected in a scheduled task. Then, if you speak to a non-technical audience of AI, immediately they will jump to ChatGPT. This is also possible. Attackers can use this evil chat assistant and translate their needs into code that they can execute in every compromised host in whatever language you choose. For instance, we'll choose Python. And let's say we want to list all the processes running. There you go. No need to be an expert. Now, you don't need to be aware of the techniques. You just need to be aware of the tactics. We have all the processor here and also the code that the LLM has suggested was best to fulfill this task. And last, I will grab this code and I will use it to showcase the next feature. So let's say that as an attacker, we want to give the SOC operator like the hardest time possible. We can obfuscate that code. And with just a few clicks, very loose morals, and any knowledge of cryptography, you have a highly obfuscated payload ready to deploy in any of the available hosts. So, as Alvaro mentioned, the main task was to answer the question if it was possible to conduct a cross-domain attack using this tool. Well, spoiler alert, we did it. And I wanted to put this slide here so the next video makes more sense. First, you will see a payload executing and a beacon activating and connecting back to our C2 infra. From there, we will leverage two tasks. One, a system reconnaissance, pretty similar as the ones we've done in the previous video. And then we will establish persistence. With those retrieved credentials, we will be able to move laterally to an Ubuntu host that has an IAM profile attached. And from there, we will be able to complete the cross-domain attack, attacking the cloud control plane. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Again, another beacon there. Oops, sorry. We will trigger a system reconnaissance task. And again, without having to drop any single line of code, and just by refreshing a couple times, you will get a very, very, very good understanding on what's going on in the victim's domain. In this case, the LLM has decided that it's going to use Sharphand and Bluetown, a very well-known red team tool to analyze their corporate domain. Then, next logical step is to establish persistence. And again, we're just 2 clicks away of empowering our attacker to fulfill persistence. And just by refreshing, we're getting there. There you go. Another Intel package drop with a successful persistence established. So now what's the next logical step? Now that we have retrieved a credential, we could use it to potentially move laterally to another host. We will do it leveraging SSH protocol. And if we're successful, we will see not just a Windows host, but an Ubuntu host connecting to our infra. If we take a look at the payload, we are effectively using a PowerShell command with the username and password already retrieved. And if we just refresh, we will see that another beacon is populating, and we have successfully moved laterally to a Linux host. So what was the breakout time? 2 minutes, maybe less? And we are just 1 click away of doing a cloud discovery against this new infected Linux host. So yeah, it's possible to perform cross-domain attacks by using AI. So just to conclude, I would like to go back to Alvaro's slide and to map a little bit what we have seen on this kill chain. With the off-network, in the off-network phase, I had to develop this whole tool and obtain a model capable of performing these tasks. It took me 3 months, I would say 3 months in my spare time. We can ask ourselves, how long would it take for a nation-state operator with very loose morals and lots of resources available? I'm guessing just a few weeks. And then, instead of isolated techniques from different adversaries, we could recognize all those TTPs that were present during this whole demo, with very small damage, establishing that Windows and Ubuntu machine connection to our infra, to more impactful tactics, such as attacking the data stored in the cloud, also exfiltrating that data, and lastly, potentially destroying that data, causing the major impact in your organizations. So I'm sorry to be the one to give you the bad news, so I'll hand it over to Roberto to give you the good news, which is that we are ready.
Thank you, Luis. First of all, for developing that tool. That is fantastic. And as you see, we have seen as attackers are taking advantage of AI essentially to lower the barriers entries, accelerate attacks, and adapt to new environments. But here's the good news. It's time to flip the table on those adversaries. Just as adversaries are using AI to scale their attacks, we are leveraging Charlotte AI to amplify our defensive capabilities. We have evolved Charlotte abilities to automate repetitive tasks, dramatically reduce investigation times, and to democratize advanced analysis. Let's move on that, because I'm really interested on that, because Charlotte is able to close the gap across the analyst journey. So essentially, Charlotte AI's capabilities scale with your team readiness, offering 3 progressive levels of adoption. The first level is called acceleration, and it helps by streamlining routine processes. The second level is called augmentation, and it helps by enhancing your team capabilities. And the third level is called autonomy, because it helps by executing tasks independently. So let me demonstrate how these levels work in practice and how they transform your security operations. We are seeing attackers use AI to speed up their attacks, letting them pull off complex techniques with less skills than ever before. They don't even need to know the technical details. They just pick their target goal, and AI does the work. Sorry, the video is not going on. And AI does the work. You have seen that with the Luis demonstration. And now what we are seeing on the screen is how Charlotte has already checked detections as they come in, right? And it's providing to us the verdict about if that detection is a true positive or a false positive before we arrive to the console, for instance. And it's providing not only that information, but it's providing to us a few other details that are quite interesting. First of all, the verdict, as I said before. Second, it takes time to analyze the rest of the context around the detection. And in that case, the triage status is finished. So that means that it took the time to analyze the context. The confidence on that verdict, in that case, is high. And the recommendation as a next step for that detection can be to escalate or to directly close the detection. Apart from that, Charlotte is going to provide to us as much context as required in order to verify that verdict by the analyst. And then also we have done something else, that is, we have created a much smarter way to prioritize where to put our efforts when doing triage on those detections. That is called escalation priority. Essentially, it's a different way to classify the detections. Instead of using just severity, we can use that scoring system that goes from 0 to 400, and that helps us to put our efforts essentially on those detections that can impact the most our environment. And that's key, because in most of the cases, we are struggling to get up to the speed with the detections that we are getting in all our systems. So in case we are running out of time, we can prioritize where to put our efforts. Now we are switching to a different feature from Charlotte that is called guided response. Guided response is providing to us the detection summary plus the triage summary as well, basically to have in account how it looks like that detections, but perhaps we are not familiar how to keep analyzing that detection. So essentially, guided response is providing to us different ways to keep investigating that detections. Apart from that, we can modify how much effort we are going to put in order to keep investigating that detection. And in blue, you can see the different answers, the different questions that we may answer to arrive to a conclusion. And in green, you can see that the ones that have been already answered by Charlotte, because it's able to query and keep digging until getting an answer. So that's a game changer. So from here now, we are seeing a summary of the Charlotte triage. We can see that in 1 month, essentially, we have seen, we have triaged 3,000 something detections. It saved to us around 18,000 minutes in a month. And also we are going to get the balance between the false positives versus the true positives that we got during that period, as you can see there. Apart from that, that's essentially a way to visualize how many detections has been triaged by Charlotte, but also that points in another direction. Charlotte triage is able to scale up in the same manner the attackers can do with AI. So we can leverage AI in order to get up to the speed. Perfect. Let's move on to another different capability as well. That in that case is, before to go on, I'm going to walk you through a real world scenario. It's Friday night, and you are working on your first solo shift. You spot something concerning an obfuscated command on a server that's triggered an alert. The catch? CrowdStrike isn't fully deployed yet. But as you see here, Charlotte is able to, first of all, to decode the command and also to analyze it. So Charlotte essentially is providing to us the command in the obfuscated directly, and after that is going to break down that command in step-by-step, in the detailed step-by-step mode. And we can also read in plain English what exactly does this command. It's a security evaluation, and it's going to highlight any kind of risk. Apart from that, it's going to indicate to us the next step to perform with that specific command, and also, in case it's required, it's going to extract the IOCs to perform additional threat hunting. Okay, let me ask you something. How much time your team takes in order to investigate a large incident, including multi-domain vendors? Probably you are going to answer a couple of days, or perhaps with your people, with your best people, or perhaps even a couple of weeks with your regular team, right? So what you can see here on the screen is essentially a large incident where we have different vendors, where we are pulling in data from those, like CrowdStrike EDR, Palo Alto, Mimecast, whatever. And we are asking Charlotte to investigate that incident. And with that, we are going to get the full picture first, and after that, it's going to suggest to us different kind of threats that perhaps we have missed. We can add those missed threats to the investigation, in that case, that workbench, and they will get that icon just to make sure that you are getting that those specific entities came from Charlotte directly. Okay, it's perfect. Instead of spending a couple of days or perhaps a couple of weeks, we are getting in 5 minutes the full picture of what's going on. How, when, and started, and how it was spread. Apart from that, we need to start remediating or fighting back that incident, and we can leverage fusion SOAR actions. Those fusion SOAR actions essentially will show you different choices depending on the kind of entity. If we are talking about user accounts, devices, or suspicious IPs, we will get different actions. And essentially, what we have here is that something that what used to take days now take minutes, and that means less impact in your site. Right, we are going to the last video of one feature. So let me show you how to create a workflow that handles alerts automatically. When Charlotte confirms an alert is a false positive and we trust that decision, the workflow will, for instance, change the alert status from new to either ignore or false positive, as you can see here. Also, perhaps we need to add some context to the analysis. So let's add the Charlotte triage information in the comments. And also, there's something else that probably we are going to do with the regular detections. That is to assign the alert to a specific team member for tracking. Now we are going to review a second workflow where Charlotte perhaps is marking that detection as a false positive, but with a low confidence level. In those cases, we use the discretion priority score to make sure we take smart decisions. If the discretion priority score is low, we can safely close those alerts and keep them as a reference, knowing they are a low risk. And finally, our final workflow is totally different. It's the usage of Charlotte in non-deterministic environments. So essentially, we can ask Charlotte, first of all, to deliver a verdict about a specific detection. And after that, we need Charlotte, or in that case, through that workflow, to take a decision about if we need to, for instance, contain a device, an asset. Once we got that decision, probably we need to inform different teams. Like perhaps we need to send out an email or a Slack or a team message to the SOC team, essentially, with all the information in order to review that decision from Charlotte and potentially to approve that containment of that asset. So essentially, we are combining something that we have, that it's a fusion SOAR with Charlotte in order to take decisions on environments that are complex or even in non-deterministic environments. So now we're coming to closing remarks, but essentially this is the first step for AI-driven defense.
Thank you, Roberto. So let's summarize what we have seen. Adversarial use of AI is rising. Maybe you have noticed that in August, Anthropic threat intelligence report that they are using every month, they were telling about many different adversaries using AI, but they were mentioning one thing. One Chinese adversary was detected using cloud model through all the tactics in an attack. They were detecting, and now they're trying to solve that this is not happening again. No? So all what we were figuring out is already happening out there. As the World Economic Forum report was telling us, AI is the most impactful factor in cybersecurity now, no surprises. There is an arms race. We are adopting AI, adversaries are adopting AI, and we are going to be battle testing these AI advancements in our networks. And we are due to adopt a platform that is AI enabled, but with AI advancement defined in purpose for security. It's very easy today to connect any platform of security to any copilots and then try to get some advantages from the AI, but it won't be providing the value because of different reasons, no? Depending on the quality of the data you have, how you are considering, or which is the level of knowledge you have of the adversary, and so on and so forth. So AI is doable, but every single space is going to be different. Every company is different. Different regulations are applying, and so on and so forth. And then for sure, like we are always saying, know your adversary. It's very important to be trying to understand what they are doing, to try to advance our response, our new developments, leveraging AI in platforms, so we can defend the best as possible against them. But I have some news, additional news, that is that maybe some of you have already attended this Tradecraft series, AI versus AI. This is your opportunity to have a hands-on experience on an environment that Luis' tool was run and Fal.Con platform detecting many of these behaviors, and then you can go through the experience of how Charlotte AI was behaving against these AI advancements, as Roberto was detailing. Okay, so this was all. Any questions?
Yeah, go for it.
When you started when you showed me your attack, when you started, you did the original scan, you were doing a network scan?
Oh.
You know how you showed, you said, hey, look, I can see the password.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you did that scan, were you behind the firewall? Was there a firewall in place when you were scanning the exposed node? Well, no. The node is, you're on the switch, you're fully on the server scanning. I'm trying to figure out how you obtained that data, how you got that data, and what the level of security was between you and the AI, or between the system being scanned and the AI. Or was there no security?
Can you repeat the question?
Huh?
Can you repeat the question for the recording?
So can we have a microphone so he could repeat the question? So
No.
Or you can repeat it and
well,
give the
basically, I was asked, if I understood correctly, if there was any security when I analyzed the information of the host, any firewall, or any kind of security. So basically, well, that was made in an internal lab that had C-scaler on it, but for the sake of visibility of all the information, it was turned off in detect only to give full visibility on all the information available. Of course, if a Windows host or whatever host is compromised and starts to do network reconnaissance, of course there will be a firewall that will stop it. But for the sake of demonstration, we put it in just vision only.
Any other question?
Difficult to see. No more questions? Sorry.
So you guys had asked the AI to obfuscate your code. Can you do it in reverse? Hey, AI, I hear your evil AI friends are obfuscating code. Can you de-obfuscate this for me?
Sorry?
So the question in that case is, we can perform reversing on the obfuscation using what?
Yeah, so the AI did whatever it did, polymorphism or whatever to obfuscate the code. Can you go the other way and say, hey, AI, you obfuscated this code for the adversary. Can you de-obfuscate it for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So in that case, probably I use a different workflow, but in some cases, I used to show how we are able also to de-obfuscate even running to the fifth level of obfuscation. So in most of the cases, we are successful on that.
This is to be tested because we are doing responsible AI and maybe our guardrails are not going to allow you. It will depend. Maybe there are exceptions for different profiles that then we can allow, and in some other cases we will be blocking with a guardrail. No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Obviously, this is emerging technology, and we're all learning how to deal with it. The adversaries are usually got a leg ahead of everyone, and then we're trying to catch up. Infrastructures that are running web access firewalls, that does nothing, right? Like, if somebody scans my systems from the public internet, right, my systems are sitting behind a web access firewall, that layer of protection doesn't in any way, unless obviously the company says, hey, I'm doing this. But in your traditional web access firewall, that kind of scan goes right through, right? AI, I imagine it goes right through, right? The web access firewall usually doesn't.
I mean,
I guess I'm trying to, I guess maybe the better question to ask is, do you guys find that the AIs on the adversary side are intelligent enough to change their traffic behavior to bypass web access firewalls?
it is possible. So it is possible.
That's kind of
So
what I thought.
that demonstration was done using GPT 3.5. So right now, in case of OpenAI, it's GPT-5, and there are more complex models, or even Warp GPT with no guardrails at all to allow you to perform those tasks. And if I was able to perform that kind of behavior with GPT 3.5, it would be safe to say that, yeah, like they can mimic pretty much very legit traffic.
And then remember, he was developing in spare time during 3 weeks, not being focused. You can do it more stealthier if you want, and so on and so forth.
The real exercise was using a regular commercial LLM instead of using evil AIs.
Yeah.
More questions? Thank you very much.
Nice.